Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Focus with Tim Thomas. I am your host, Tim Thomas. We're glad you have joined us for this very special edition of our program. We're here coming to you from downtown Madisonville, and we are at the Madisonville City Hall, and we are in the beautiful Mayor's Conference Room. Here, this conference room adorns the pictures of former mayors up to our present mayor. Just a really beautiful room to come and have meetings here. So we're appreciative of Mayor Jackson and his staff for opening the doors, allowing us to come in and film here today. We also want to thank First United Bank and the City of Madisonville for sponsoring the Focus program. They are great partners in helping us get information out to our community. We are in our 20th year of the Focus program, and in the near future we're going to be doing an anniversary program celebrating 20 years of Focus being on the air. How great is that? That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's really great.
It really is. And that leads us into our guest today, my good friend Mr. Kenneth Johnson, who is the Transportation Director with the Penarel Allied Community Services here. And we're going to be talking about the transit system and the successes of the transit system. So he has a big smile on his face because he has some exciting news to tell us. Kenneth, welcome back to Focus.
Thank you.
Last time we were here, we were just kicking off, well, the twice that you've been on, when we did the ribbon cutting, and we were talking about the transportation routes and all that type of thing. And here we are into the new year of 2018. Tell us what the good news you want to share with our listening audience today.
Well, our opening day, as you know, was May 22nd.
Yes.
Last year. And so we haven't even been going a full year yet. We've got about 7 months under our belts. And yesterday, around 11, 12 o'clock, we hit our 15,000th passenger delivered.
Wow.
So, you know, when we,
That's great.
Thank you. But no, when we originally set up the system, I told Mayor Jackson, I said I'd stake my reputation on doing 5,000 people the first year. I said we're going to shoot for 10, and well, we hit that several months ago, and now we're looking like we're going to be over 20,000 riders our first calendar year.
That is wonderful, and those of you that may not know, we're taping this program on Monday, February the 5th. Right? Tuesday,
Yes.
February the 5th, but we are taping this program, so that lets us know about where we are.
Yeah, on Monday, February the 4th, we hit 15,000, and we're averaging about 480 to 510 people a week. So, you know, 2.5 months from now, we'll hit, you know, right at 15,000.
Wow.
Or 20,000, excuse me.
Wow. I mean, that's exciting. That's exciting. Lee Lingo and myself were the very first riders on the public transportation when it kicked off, that left early that morning to make its initial inaugural run.
Right, you made your video.
We made our video that went ballistic.
It did.
It really did.
It's like 20,000 shares. I mean, it was, or likes, whatever.
Yeah, it was. People really viewed that, and just exciting things happening, huh?
It is. A lot of things going on.
I mean, in your wildest dreams, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I knew just based on what we did in Hopkinsville, and then you take off some numbers just because the population there is a little bit larger than Madisonville, but the success, I think the enthusiasm that people had wanting this system was a little bit stronger in Madisonville, and it has taken off faster than what we ever thought.
Wow. We have to go back and think about how we came to this point. When we first started talking about this, we were, at that time I was serving as chair of the Planning Commission, and we had an opportunity to talk to our director, Ted Atkins. I think he got in contact with you.
He did.
Got in contact with you. It was something that we wanted to see happen and wanted to see take place. We just kind of had it on the drawing board, been talking about it. And I asked Ted to talk with the mayor. Let's set up a meeting and sit down and see if we can't get this going, see what we can do to bring this into fruition.
That's right.
And that initial meeting with the mayor, tell us how you thought that went. I mean, it went well. But
it went really well. I was actually really pleasantly surprised because Mayor Jackson he obviously had already crunched the numbers about what a system would cost like that for the city to do on its own.
You could tell he already had it.
Oh, he did. And then when I told him what the cost would be after the state, helping with the purchase of the vehicles, after the state, the state pays for half of the expenditures after fares. And when I told him what the estimated first year cost would be, just based on my thrown together numbers, he seemed excited.
Yeah.
And the meeting after that point, it was just like, hey, what else can we do with this? And you could see people leaning back and really start thinking about, how they wanted it to look. And everybody had their own idea about, how they wanted to look. And of course, it was me and Ted and Chuck Shockley.
That's right.
And I don't know how many times we drove around Madisonville independently and together. And it was a lot of fun developing it because, like I said, the hunger was there for it.
Yes.
We knew the need was there. We knew the people would use it. And we worked for almost a year getting it the best way we could look and getting the buses looking good and purchased so we could start in May. And originally I told him I could probably start it in January, but 6 glitches later and we got started on May 22nd.
Right. And we have to give thanks also to our city council to help bring this into fruition.
Absolutely.
That worked with the mayor to see that this came into fruition.
Yeah, there was lots of questions from lots of people, and I'm going to leave some out.
Yeah.
But, I'd get a crazy phone call from somebody that's, I'm with this, and they'd ask me a question, I'd answer it the best I can, and they'd go back to their meeting, and lots of communication with Ted, with the Hopkins County Planning Commission, and of course Chuck Shockley then. And about the time we were ready to kick off is when Greg got his job and became city administrator, and he got thrown in the deep end because we were almost ready to launch when he began on the project.
That's right. Tell us now, how have any of the routes changed? Are we still kind of using the same routes now?
Yes, we've left the routes exactly like they are. We're just, right now we're accumulating data. And what that data tells us is where we need to be, where we don't need to be. Is there a stop that's being underutilized? Those stops are also telling us for an upcoming project about where we're going to put a couple of possible bus shelters. So it's a deviated fixed route is the official name of it, and the reason it's called that is any client can call at any time with 48 hours notice and request us to come 3/4 mile off the route to pick them up at a address of a business or at their home if they can't get to a bus stop. And we take all of those deviations and we put those together, and that tells us, hey, does this stop need to be 2 streets over? Because we're picking up just a few people a week here, but we're deviating over here 12 times a week at this business, or 15 times a week, or some situations 5 times a day. So it tells us where we need to go next. So when me and Ted and Greg sit down to talk about possible changes, we're not going to be making it up. We're going to be going where it's already being called for.
And that's really good. I mean, that's a plus.
Yes.
Where are you seeing your biggest clientele?
You've got 2 different types. You've got pickups and drop-offs.
Right.
And like if we're looking at a bus shelter, we want to put those at the high spots for pickups because that means somebody's waiting there. Drop-offs, you're looking at, are we helping the community by taking people to work? Which yes, we are, because one of our best drop-offs is the industrial park.
I can imagine.
We take a lot of people to work every day. We're picking them up at 6 a.m. when they're getting off of work, and we're dropping them off at 6 o'clock in the evening so they can get to their shift. And of course, if the transit system can't do it, the PACS transportation public side will come and pick them up in the evenings. But Baptist Health, of course, is one of the major drop-off points, and although we've only got one stop called Baptist Health, we drop off all over their campus. All somebody's got to do is say which door they'd like to be dropped at.
Wow, what a blessing! What a blessing that is.
It is. Well, that's rural transportation is what we do, and this is small town Madisonville, best town on earth, Kentucky, right? And so when we're setting up these rules, one of the things that we can do is if somebody hasn't quite got to a bus stop yet, but they're on the route and they see the bus coming, all they have to do is put their hand up and wave, and that driver, to the best of their ability, is going to pull over safely to pick them up, even though it's not a bus stop. We're not going to leave the passengers because they're not at a sign.
Right.
So that's what you can do with a rural transportation system, which is what we are. It's friendly, it's small town. Another, of course, big stop is the Kroger and the marketplace. A lot of the pickup points, that's all going to be residential because our vehicles are small enough that we're not stuck on just Main Street with 4 lanes. We can go anywhere in Madisonville and pick somebody up. So, you know, we're getting a lot of people at the housing authority complexes, and people are able to go places before they'd only go in walking distance. They can go anywhere they want now.
That's great. That is great. To see the fruition of coming to fruition of this transit system and see the popularity of it. When we talk about what we see in the present, what are some of the future things you'd like to see happen with this transit system?
Most immediately, and I've already started the application for our FY19 grants. We did this last year too, but the system was so new that I didn't figure we'd get it. I'm hoping this year to receive a 3rd bus for the transit system. Maybe not to immediately throw into a 3rd route, that'll be up to some other folks, but to immediately start filling in for the other 2 vehicles. And what that is, it gives them a break to where we can do maintenance on it without having to use one of the PACS transportation vehicles. And it still is going to have, you know, the Go Madisonville transit on the side of the bus, so people don't get confused about which service is operating on that street. And it also reduces the miles that are currently on the buses just by giving us the chance to park them, and extends the life that those are going to be in service here in Madisonville.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And the numbers are there.
Oh, the numbers are there for it, yes, sir.
The numbers are there. Yeah. How many people are employed right now with the transit system?
With specifically the transit system, I think we've got 7 drivers, all part-time, of course. And we've got 1 dispatcher. His name's Dale Payne, a Nortonville guy, super guy. He's the dispatcher / supervisor for the system. And of course, it's all overseen by our county manager, Jeff Browning.
Gotcha. We see now the transit system taking place, is working, seem like very smoothly. Do you ever have any hitches?
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of part of it.
Every time there's a fender bender on a 2-way street, that bus is running behind.
Yes.
But we've got a few things in place using our own vehicles through PACS Transportation that allows us to get back on route very quickly. And I won't explain the whole system, but if there is a delay, we can almost guarantee the next hour will not suffer.
Give us what are some of the prices now for riding the transit system?
It's as cheap as you can ask for, and it absolutely mirrors our Hopkinsville transit system, which has also been a just unqualified success. It's $1 a ride just to get on the bus.
Wow.
If you have a disability, if you're a veteran or current serving in the military, it costs 50 cents. Also, senior citizens above 60, 50 cents instead of $1. You make your way to the transit station on 120 West Arch Street, or East Arch Street, and you can pick up a bus pass for a week for $5, anywhere you want to go for $5. And you can also pick up a bus pass for a month for $15. Wow. So if you think you're going to use the bus system more than 15 times in a month, that's the way to go. And a lot of our people are riding once, twice, 3 times a day.
Right. Wow, that's wonderful. And I would think that employers kind of help this with their employees sometime.
I know there's a couple of employers out there that's inquired about it if they're actually purchasing the passes for their employees. I'm not positive, but I also know that we've got many folks over at our friends at St. Vincent de Paul that purchase bus passes for low-income folks.
Sure.
Our CSBG office for PACS can also do that, and there's a few other places that Salvation Army, if they call us, we can get somebody a ride to where they need to get, and then we settle up the money later.
Right. And what are the hours of the transit?
We start at 5 a.m. We leave that transit station, and then every day, to the best of our ability, every hour we leave that transit station at the top of the hour. And our last lap begins at 5 p.m. and we shut the buses down at 6 p.m.
Wow. So we're going to put that on the screen so you can keep up with the hours that the transit system is running, and also the minimal pay for just right. You
5 a.m. to 6 p.m. $1. That's all you got to remember.
I had a friend that who's a veteran, had some surgery at Vanderbilt, some back surgery, had to go back and forth to rehabilitation, whatever. Called the transit system. They came, picked him up at his door because he wasn't able to walk that well, you know, on walker. Picked him up at his house, was able to take him, able to bring him back, you know, and he said it was just a godsend. Tell us how it's working over in Hopkinsville.
Well, in Hopkinsville, and I expect to have very similar results now in Madisonville. We started 3 years ago in January, and in January we celebrated our 100,000th passenger in 3 years. Wow. And again, we were told by many people in the state that we'd be fortunate if we did 5,000 people a year, or you know, top out at 10,000, which means, you know, if we topped out their expectations, we'd have done 30,000 passengers, and we've done 100,000. So it's just unqualified success, and I expect it to be mirrored here in Madisonville.
We expected that and hoping that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. So we're seeing a great. Do you have very many handicapped using the?
Absolutely.
I wondered about that.
All of our vehicles, whether it's PACS, Hopkinsville Transit, or Go Madisonville, 95% of our fleet is handicap accessible for wheelchairs, and all of our buses carry at least 2 wheelchairs.
Kenneth, and you have to have a passion for this. We have to have a passion for people to be in the job that you're in, and not only is it job security, but it's really good that it takes a special kind of person to want to see this be successful and working with people on a daily basis.
Yes, sir. And I come from a restaurant background. I spent 22 years working in local restaurants between here and several other counties, and our favorite day was always when we got to go out and do a community service event. And you know, get our name out there, and it was fantastic. And now I've literally got a job where I get to do that every day of the week. Right.
Well, that's exciting, and it's exciting to see where we are, where we're going. To be celebrating the 15,000th rider.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and like I said, that was just yesterday. So where we're going to top out at for the year is just hard to guess at.
Right. And what are your plans now for the next 5,000 more? It would be like a celebration of the 20,000th rider.
Well, we've got some ideas we're kicking around, but we don't have anything solid yet. And of course, I've got to get with Greg and maybe Tim and a few other folks before I say anything solid, because last time what we did involved Mayor Jackson, and his time's very valuable. So I got to make sure that what we do doesn't interfere. But we're definitely going to do some kind of event, possibly a giveaway, and that's as far as I'm going to say. But our 20,000th passenger might get something besides a ride that day. Right.
Well, our cameras will be there to capture it all.
Right. That'd be great.
At that time, we'll be there to capture that.
It'll be more fun than the ribbon cutting.
You're right. So we talked about future plans. We talked about what's taking place now. What is it maybe you might want to share with the listening audience?
Well, the Go Madisonville, Hopkinsville Transit, we've got a brand new inner city route. All of these are, of course, under the umbrella of transportation at Penny Brow Allied Community Services. And, you know, it's not just transportation that's a major program. There's 5 other programs that serve all aspects of continuing that mission statement of furthering people's independence, or getting them to an independent level through work, getting them to health appointments, and not just transportation, but our senior citizen centers, our family preservation program, the application assisters that help people get into Medicaid if they need help, and excuse me, and all of these programs, like I said, have one goal, and we've got 6 directors. The CSBG office, which is here in town, is on Branch Street, the Hopkins County Assistance Center. PACS is all over the place, and people don't realize how big we are, how much we're there to serve, and I definitely want to help get the word out about that. So even if you call our office and it's a different need, we can get you where your family or the family you're calling for, we can help get them the help.
Well, we want to make sure we do that. We want to make it happen.
Yes.
We want to continue to make this successful as well. I really think too that in future plans, I would love to see this go outside the city into some of our smaller areas. Is that not like? out of the realm of possibility.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but of course everything depends on funding and what you can match up with the state dollars, and what it's costing the city right now. I'm afraid just won't be feasible for smaller communities, but I will say that I'm willing to sit down and show anybody what we're doing and brainstorm about what we can do. And we had a group asking questions about bus routes in Muhlenberg County. They did not have the money initially just to start up and run bus routes. But a group of people called Muhlenberg 2020 and the Felix Martin Foundation sat down with us, and we started brainstorming ideas. And we did this for several different meetings. One great meeting where we actually evolved the new jobs program. And that program, although not a bus route like we initially thought, we're taking people to work every day in Muhlenberg County for $2 a round trip, regardless of where they live, as long as they're working inside the county and living inside the county. So our normal cost of 70 cents or $1 a mile, none of those are there. And all that was just a group of people sitting down and saying, let's serve a need.
Having a conversation.
So anybody sits down, I'll sit down and talk to them, and they may be mad at me at the end of the meeting, but they'll know what the possibilities are. And we've had some really great partnerships in the last couple of years.
That's great. That's great. And I think that's what it is, just sitting down and brainstorming and coming up that every successful thing starts with an idea.
That's right. And everybody's ideas when they're sitting down and talking about transportation are about helping people get where they need to be, whether it be a job or medical appointments or getting their kids to their daycare. Whatever that family finds important. Anytime we have the conversation about transportation, that's what we're doing, is helping people.
Wonderful, wonderful. And my thoughts for that, why I was mentioning that, was because I know, say for over in Hanson, people getting back and forth to the Walmart over there, different areas, just something for, I think, good to just think about and to work toward, because there is a need there.
Yes, there is.
There's definitely a need there.
And, somebody right now wanting to get to Walmart can do it, just not for $1.
Correct.
But they can ride our vans and our buses for 70 cents a mile as long as they call in. And that's not just the city limits, that's anywhere in the county. Right?
I hope they listen to this.
I hope
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did you, Gwen? I did not know that.
Beulah, Morton's Gap, Nortonville, Dawson Springs, anywhere in the county, 70 cents a mile, will pick them up at their home, take them to the Walmart, and then bring them back.
Wow, wow. So we need to definitely put that on the screen, as a separate thing.
And also on the screen, maybe the web address for PACS, because that's where all that information is.
Correct.
And that's the pacs-ky.org.
We'll do that. Definitely worth having you on today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great information, great need, a great transit system. Go Madisonville, here in the city of Madisonville. I'm excited. I'm
very proud of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just excited. And we appreciate you, seriously, for all your hard work and happiness coming to fruition, and your staff making it as successful as it is. And your dedication to it.
I've got the best people in Madisonville and Hopkinsville and Pennyroyal working for us right now.
It makes your job easier, doesn't it?
It does.
That's right. And so they deserve a lot of credit. And also to our drivers that do this, every day.
That's right.
We appreciate them.
And on snow days and anything else that we're facing.
That's right. That's right. What are we on snow? I know we're running out of time, but what are we with when we have inclement weather?
When we do have the inclement weather, we just get on the radio and keep people updated. And if it's just terribly unsafe, we'll go on a delay. If it gets to the point where we can't even get into work, some of our guys, we may drive big buses, but they all drive little cars on the way to work. So if it's not safe for them to come in, we will call the day. But at that point, usually most of your business, I don't believe anybody's going to lose their job because we can't get them to work. Most doctor's appointments are great about rescheduling. But, the next day after the snow, we've had our parking lot shoveled and, we're ready to go back. It may be a little bit of a delay, 2-hour delay, but just listen to your local radio stations and we start feeding them information at 4 a.m.
Wow. So keep that in mind and keep your radios on and listen to those weather updates and make that call. And just know the transit system is there. When you can't get out of the driveway, the transit system, go Madisonville.
If we can get down the street, yes, sir.
We can make it happen. We can make it happen. Hey, Kenneth, glad to have you, my friend.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Tim.
And we're looking forward. We'll be back with him and the mayor and everybody on that 20th thousand passenger and the celebration of that in the upcoming months. Won't be long.
Not long at all.
Not long at all. Been talking to Mr. Kenneth Johnson, who's been sharing with us the exciting information about the transit system here in the city of Madisonville. He is the transportation director for the Pennyroyal Allied Community Services, and he covers a large area here in western Kentucky. And so his job is really important and really busy. It's really a busy time in his life. So, and congratulations, he has a new son-in-law.
I do.
Have a new son-in-law. His daughter had a big wedding in December. So,
big wedding December 10th, and they're both doing very well, and I think she's going to be walking for her master's degree in May. So
wonderful.
They're doing a great start.
That is great. That is, just send our best to them.
I will.
We'll do that.
Thank you, Tim.
We've been listening to Focus with Tim Thomas, and we're glad you've joined us for this edition of our program. I want to thank Mrs. Gwen Smith, who is our producer, and who helps make us look as well as we can. Haven't helped me yet on finding a wife, but that's okay. We're still working on that, right? No, I'm just kidding. We're still working on that. But anyway, tune in to another edition of our program, and by all means, keep sharing the dream.